Hi, I'm Stephanie and I'm from Gateway Technical College. You may have friends and family that go to Gateway Technical College. Before we get started, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. As a little girl, my favorite stories were Curious George stories. I just loved the adventures that little monkey went on when I was a little girl. And now as a grown-up, I love to read, and my favorite place to read is anywhere outside. I think it's wonderful to hear the different noises outside and just to be able to feel the wind and the sun on my face. So today we're going to read a book, and it is called A New Kind of Wild. It is written by Zara González Hoang, and the interesting thing about it is that she wrote it and she also illustrated it. So she did all of the beautiful pictures that are in this book as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So A New Kind of Wild. Wren lived in a little white house on the edge of El Yunque. El Yunque is a national forest in Puerto Rico. His days were filled with green and dirt and rocks and mud. All the bits of nature and magic a life lived on the edge of the wild offers. Every day, Wren adventured with dragons, and he chased unicorns. He feasted with fairies and campaigned with kings. And every night, Wren fell asleep to the flickering of fireflies and a chorus of coqui. Coqui is a tree frog that lives in Puerto Rico as well. So it was a place of endless possibility where anything he imagined became real, at least until bedtime. This was his home. Until the day that it wasn't. Wren found himself in a brick and cement city. The friendly sounds of the forest were replaced by the mechanical creaks and beeps and buzzes of a place filled with people and progress. It was too loud and too fast. It made Wren's head fill up with everything and nothing. There was no room left for magic, no room for the wild. Without his wild, Wren was really lonely. Ava, who lived upstairs, was never lonely. She loved her city and she loved her building. It was a place of constant change, with people moving through it like an endless parade. There was always something to see or do, and best of all, there was always someone to share it with. So when Ava saw Wren, she ran down to meet him. "I'm Ava," she said. She asked him who he was and how he got there, if he had brothers, a father, a mother, if he liked the city or why he didn't. She asked him so many things so quickly, he thought his head would explode. When she finally stopped for a breath, Wren tried to tell her why the city wasn't for him, but all Ava heard was a challenge. So Ava pulled him from the stoop and into the busy city. She led him down colorful streets and sidewalks. They peeked into alleys and splashed in the hydrants and tried to find the rhythm of the streets. But all Wren saw was gray, and all he heard was the screeching of brakes and the honking of the horns. It was nothing like home. When Ava caught up to Wren, she asked him what was wrong. "There's no magic here," he said, "no wild. Everything is exactly what it is." "You're wrong," Ava said. Hadn't he heard the song of the city? Hadn't he seen the color in the streets? She'd spent all day showing him. How could he not see it? If only he would try a little harder, she thought. But Wren was tired of trying, so he went back inside. Homesickness swept over him like a wave, and he never felt lonelier than ever. Outside was a whole new world, one he didn't belong to. As he stared out the window, Wren saw Ava skipping across the sidewalk. She moved through her city like he had moved through his wild, with an air of possibility flickering around her. How did Ava do it? Wren wondered. Maybe she could show him how. Sorry I left, Wren said when he found her. I just miss home. I've never lived anywhere else, and everything is so different here. I've only lived in the city, Ava said. I can't imagine living anywhere else. What is it like? So Wren told her about his wild, about the green and the trees and the rocks and the mud, and about the magical creatures that played there. He spun a tale of fairies and fantasy that he just couldn't see on these drab city blocks. And finally, Ava understood what was missing. She brought Wren down to the basement of their building, showed him how the shadows could shape-shift, and introduced him to creatures who lived in the unlikeliest of places. Then she took him up, past Mr. Borges in apartment 4B, past the empty apartment with the red door, past stacked boxes and peeling wallpaper, all the way to the very top. She told him that the city had a rhythm, and the music played could be a lullaby or it could be a salsa. Listen, she said as she pulled him outside. The sounds that were so jarring below softened into something almost musical. With the city spread out before them, Ava showed Wren how bricks could become beautiful. It was a new kind of wild, and this time he could see it. The end. That was a great story. What was your favorite part about the story? I think my favorite part really was Ava. The fact that Ava reached out to someone she had never met before to show him the city and to show him how to look at the city in a different way. I thank you for reading with me today. I've had a great time. And I also want to thank the United Way of Kenosha County, as well as the Kenosha Public Library and the Kenosha Unified School District for asking me to participate in Read Across Kenosha. Have a great day, everyone.